This program has been brought to you by Cell One.
Welcome to 2015's 10 Most Fascinating People of Bermuda. I'm Lisa Pickering. Everyone has a story, a little something that makes them unique, especially right here in Bermuda. But what does it mean to be fascinating? We've put together a list of 10 Bermudians that captured the headlines in 2015. Whether they've been the subject of controversy or of great praise, there isn't an individual on this list that hasn't come up in conversation around the dinner table, at the office, or at social gatherings. Each individual featured on this list share one thing in common. They all have shown passion, determination, and perseverance in the face of setbacks. The list is in no particular order, but the final subject revealed is this year's most fascinating person of Bermuda. Let's get started. He stepped into power during a time of controversy in May 2014, and his time at the helm since has been no easy ride. Known to some as the Milkman, OBA Premier Michael Dunkley received his fair share of criticism and praise in 2015. He ended the year favorably in the polls despite disapproval over government and union relations, a surge in crime, and questionable government contracts. And the Jetgate scandal continues to surface. Despite strong political opposition, Premier Dunkley has steamed ahead, publicly boasting economic growth and the much-touted America's Cup events.
We're making progress. We're out of the recession. The economic indicators show that to be the case. But still, we have a lot of work to make because there's still too many people hurting. There's still too many Bermudians are looking for a job or in a job that is not their first choice. And so the work must continue. And I'm positive that we will continue to make strides because there's a lot of opportunity that's still there, and we're knocking on that door and we're opening the door for that opportunity, whether it be construction projects that are very close to getting into the ground, or whether it be the planning for the America's Cup in 2017 as a backdrop to the awesome races we had in October of this year for the Louis Vuitton World Series.
In terms of employment, how confident are you that you'll see an increase in positions arising in the new year?
I think we will see increased employment levels. We've seen it with the economic stats that have been put out through the year that the unemployment level has dropped from 9 to 7%, but still that's way too high. And especially the unemployment level for young people is much higher than that, and it's still way too high. And I think we'll see progress on that with the jobs that are going to be coming forward for construction and those assorted areas. Confidence was shattered through this recession. And confidence is a very fleeting thing no matter what you look at it in life. And with that confidence being shattered, while we've grown in confidence in Bermuda, and that's very clear if you take a look at some of the indicators and some of the surveys that have been out there, that confidence is still starting to come back. Businesses are going to make sure that when they hire, it's the right time to hire because they feel they can make a return on their investment. It's up to us now as a government to continue to make sure we build that confidence and give the business organizations the structure, the foundation they need to be confident moving forward.
And much like the opposition leader, Mark Bean, you both seem to strike a chord with people, positive and negative on both sides. Why do you think that is?
I think that if you're in a position where you're going to be in the focus, whether you're a business leader, whether you're a politician or a sportsman or a community activist, we live in a world now that that spotlight, the sunshine of public scrutiny can be on you quite easily through all the various social media and everything else in between that. And as the Premier of Bermuda, I've made sure that people can reach out to me. The opposition get a bit upset at times that they say I'm always around and photo opportunities and all that. But I cast that against the backdrop. If I stayed in the office all day poring over paper, people wouldn't have the opportunity to have access to you. They wouldn't know what you stood for, and they'd be complaining because you were inside, out of the way, and out of sight. I think people want a leader that's accessible and that's real. And when you get involved in politics, you come from all walks of life. People need to know that I'm accessible and I'm real and I'm just like them.
Now, let's talk a little bit about the party. The PLP recently said that the OBA has had a bout of scandals, broken promises, and a lack of transparency. What do you think about that assessment?
I would expect that from opposition. That's them doing their job. I think There's no fertile ground for that. One of the things that I am comforted by in my time as Premier since May of last year, I've always been very open and transparent. If you look at our record, we brought Patty legislation and made it happen within a couple of months of becoming the Premier. That had sat around for years. One must question why. Changed the ministerial code of conduct to make it have more teeth and have more oversight. We've put all the ministerial travel on a website where people can look into it. We've opened up government boards to get more participation specifically for women who want to serve. I will do everything I can to make sure that good governance is a part of every breath that we take on the island here. And I realize in doing that, you open yourself up for much more scrutiny. And that's fine, because I think as politicians, what you do should be answerable to people all the time. And so I'm proud of the record, but I just chuckle with the opposition because clearly, while they seem to have a focus in on good governance and all of those related type of things, they seem to have amnesia about what took place before 2012. That's cool.
And there are those that might argue that the OBA is selling off Bermuda. What would you say to those critics?
I would say that, to be blunt, it's nonsense. What the OBA is trying to get Bermuda to be open for business again, trying to grow our economy and take care of our people. We've seen unprecedented struggles by Bermudians over the past couple of years, something that I haven't seen in my lifetime, 57 years now. As a Bermudian, why would I sell off Bermuda? Where do we have to go? I've lived here all my life, been away for 7 years in school, but the rest of the time I've been here in Bermuda. I'm part of the pulse that makes up Bermuda. 65,000 people make up our pulse. I would never sell off Bermuda. And I think that's probably just a catchy political phrase that doesn't do us any good as we try to move forward. Because I can turn it back around and say to those who say that, well, what about those policies? Didn't that sell Bermuda off and put us down in the doldrums? I'd rather focus in on where we need to go. We're not selling off Bermuda. We're trying to make sure Bermuda is sustainable for our people with opportunity and hope. It's about the next generation.
Let's talk about becoming Premier. Was that an aspiration of yours, and did you expect it?
I think the straight answer to that is, once you get involved in anything, you would believe that there'd be opportunities to move up. I knew I'd been involved in politics long enough that I had the leadership potential, and I stayed out of the leadership contest when the OBA was formed. Straight up, I told people it was my goal to go stay in constituency number 10 and win, and I had no desire at that time. In politics, you never know when that opportunity or people will come knocking on your door and ask you to take up the baton.
Now, you had mentioned family life. You've been 20 years almost in the public eye. It must have taken a toll somewhat on family life.
It has. I remember when I first got involved, one of the conversations that I had with my wife, who gives me great advice all the time. She's the silent force beside me at all times, was we have to consider the family. We had 2 young girls at that time, still very much in their young formative years going to school, and it was a real balance. But I think I did a fairly good job. If you ask her at times, it might not seem that way, but I think I've done a fairly good job of trying to balance that. But when you get involved in politics, you can't pick the optimum time to jump overboard. Opportunities arise and you have to decide if you're going to open that door or you're going to try to wait for another day. I very rarely wait. I make a decision and you have to move on it. Life's just too short. You've
been called a social media statesman. Why do you think the medium is so important for you, and do you consider yourself a brand?
That's a good question. Do you consider yourself a brand? I'd like to make Bermuda a brand and me be part of that brand. We have a lot to be proud of in Bermuda, but we have a lot of challenges that we have to face. And one of the reasons why I'm out there on social media is because people need to be able to know what you're doing. They need to be in touch with what you're doing. They need to be able to reach out to you. And I guess the person behind who I am is one that I just have, I don't know, I was blessed with the ability just to wake up in the morning and want to attack the day. Energy and drive. And I can thank my parents for that, because my father always installed in me the value of getting up and doing something with your day. I even remember on weekends when we had an opportunity to do some stuff around the house or get out and play in the neighborhoods or whatever. My father always was strict on, look, you guys are going to do these type of things first before you move forward. So I just appreciate the time that you have in a day to do things. And then, I reflect back with the strong upbringing I had as parents, they really cast their stamp on who me and my brother and 2 sisters are. And when I look back and I recall when my father died at 40, I was just 15 or 16 years old. The fragility of the world rocked our family because, as a man, he was my hero. I was a young boy. And I'm thinking, wait a second, I saw him at Christmas. I was away at school at the time. Snuffed out, just like that, with a phone call from away that I'm coming home and he's not well. And then I started to say, well, life's too short. You have to give everything every day. And so my day is going to be driven by energy and drive to get things done. And, thankfully, my family understands, my wife understands the passion that I have to do things and supports me at 100%. So behind what I am, what people see, it's just drive. That's all it is, drive. And it doesn't matter. If I'm not premier tomorrow, I'm still going to be driven to do what I like to do.
And that wraps up the list for the most fascinating people of Bermuda 2015. Please feel free to send your suggestions for 2016 to burmiebios@gmail.com. I'm Lisa Pickering, and thanks for watching.
This program has been brought to you by Cell One.
With Cell One, you simply get more. More 4G speed and reliability across the island. More warranty coverage from the only carrier authorized to resell Apple iPhones in Bermuda. More first-class service with our 24/7 customer care, whether you're in-store, on the phone, or online. More services, mobile phones, long distance, and home internet, all with one company. Get more with one. Cell One.